Here I pose the question whether or not a special statute should rely upon findings and declarations. I've written and talked about previously special statutes, and particularly the statements that are used with them and their sufficiency or perhaps lack thereof. In the California Legislature, there are general and special statute bills. And special statute bills are used when legislators believe that the bill's provisions are unique and should apply in only a specific circumstance or perhaps to a specific entity or particular jurisdiction of the state. And of course, not any bill can be given a special statute designation. The vast majority, of course, are general statutes because they apply across the board. Now, when a special statute is required for these, certain particularized reasons, the bill actually states that it is a so-called special statute, along with a brief explanation or statement, really, why a general statute cannot be made applicable in this particular circumstance. And so at the end of the bill, in what the Office of Legislative Counsel calls a plus section, there will be this standard language. The legislature finds and declares that a special statute is necessary and that a general statute cannot be made applicable within the meaning of Section 16 of Article 4 of the California Constitution. Now, as opposed to the constitutional provisions for urgency statutes, which are required to have a statement of facts that justify the urgency nature of the proposed statute, there's actually no similar language in Article 4, Section 16, which distinguishes between general and special statutes. And because all of the bills that are special statutes include standardized language, again, that's the finding and declaration that a special statute is necessary and that a general statute cannot be made applicable in this particular instance. Perhaps that's all that's needed under the state constitution. Now, I noticed that in some bills that reached Governor Newsom's desk in the 2022 session, contained the standard findings and declarations, but also made reference back to any particular legislative findings, usually in Section 1 of the bill in an uncodified section of the particular bill. And so last year I made the suggestion that this approach might serve as an example for future legislation. And I noticed that in a few instances in recently introduced bills in the 2023 session, for example, AB 612, it includes provisions that make various findings and declarations in Section 1 of that bill. In fact, there are 6 specific legislative findings and declarations in Section 1 of the bill. And then at the end, in Section 4, again in the plus section, it makes the standardized finding and declaration regarding the necessity for a special statute dealing with surplus state property in a particular city in this legislator's district. What it specifically says in Section 4 in that plus section is that the special statute is necessary because of the unique circumstances set forth in Section 1 of this act relating to facilitating expansion of public access to a particular beach and coastal trail. So as a result, instead of, for example, restating the findings in Section 4 in that plus section at the end of the bill, or worse in my mind is having the plus section just making the standardized statement without explanation, this bill actually relies upon the extensive legislative findings and declarations, again, a half a dozen of them in Section 1 of the bill. And so this should definitely be sufficient language from my perspective for any court in this state that might be asked to review that special statute determination in the bill.